Hello my boys, good morning. This is the video for maxing my Totem Master build that was adapted for patch 0.2 with all the new changes that we had. I need to remind you that the core of the build is still quite affordable and very tanky in waste on 15 and 16. You can go as low as 2 Divine Orbs at the moment and do without any problems waste on 15 and 16. But this video here for maxing, it's addressed to those people that love the build and want to push it up even further. And in this beautiful material I will explain all the upgrades that you can do and also in a logical order so that you're cost effective with your currency. Spend your currency wisely. We're gonna talk about all the changes and I have a lot of tips for you. Okay my boys, we're in game. Before I start explaining all the items for maxing the build, I need to stress for new channel visitors that here you have the written build guide that has everything that you need to know for the normal version, even the gem setups. Here for the spirit setups, you have for the items, you have the skill tree. Here again for the items, it even tells you what to do, what not to do. Good stuff. Here some tips and tricks. And here is the part where I talk about maximizing the build. This was the video that was made in patch 0.1. This has been my build for more than 3 months. In POEGuy, I like to focus on just one build and perfect it. This is how I like to play this game. And this section will be edited. So after I go with this video live, I will do some edits here and explain all the changes that were adapted for patch 0.2. Enough talking my boys, let's get started. The first big upgrade that you should start with is the mace. You will transition from a one-handed mace to a two-handed mace here, and you will take it either with +6 to level of all melee skills, ideally +7. The more gem levels you have, the more damage we do, was explained in the build guide. Now for the sockets here, you will go with the increased skill speed rune that was added in patch 0.2, and also if it's needed, yeah, so it's not mandatory, you can also put a spirit rune, maybe you want to add herbalism for all rod flask that we will talk in this video. So this is very important. What you need to understand was also explained in the guide that in order to equip a two-handed mace, you will need to allocate Giant's Blood. It's a keystone that will triple the attribute requirements, meaning that you will need a lot of strength in order to equip this mace. But follow the skill tree that I provided. It's actually quite easy to get a lot of strength. Yeah, as you notice, we even have these strength nodes here, we have these nodes here. And not only that, I also have a tip for you. On all of your items, try to get strength. Yeah, for example, I have life strength here, I have some strength here, even on the boots I have some strength. You see, this will help with the equipment of the of the mace. And not only that, as I explained in the info channel for this build, if you scroll up a little, getting strength will also raise your life pool here. So it's a trick that you can do in order to have a big life pool. So ideally you want to get a rare item with life and also strength added. Even for the rings here I have my strength. Yeah, you see, a lot of strength and some life. Yeah, this will bump your life greatly. It will help you. The more life you have, the better time you have. Now let's talk about the second upgrade that you can do. It's a Svalin shield. I explained for the normal version, you will stick with Rise of the Phoenix. For normal mapping, will give you a lot of life regeneration. It's especially great if you're poor. Yeah. After you reach level 92, so I need to stress, ideal level for the Svalin transition, in my opinion, it's around level 92. This will guarantee that you'll have a lot of skill points here invested that you can do a smooth transition. Yeah. Try to buy a Svalin shield with here the roll -10. It can roll from -20 to -10, close to -10. This will raise your block chance. It's no longer 75%. It's 88%. No? For the corruptions, try to look for maxing what I'm talking about with 2 sockets, or there is a corruption that gives +3 maximum block chance. And if you have -10 roll and +3, you actually can raise to 91% block chance, which is really overpowered. In case you missed it, the Warbringer Ascendancy has this Fink Turtle charm that can block a lot of things. It's much more better than the normal block. And using a Svalin, we can abuse this Ascendancy node. That's why this thing is busted. And I explained that a lot of casual players and new Path of Exile players, they die a lot. With my setup here, they will have a great time. Chef's kiss, you know what they say? Good. So this should be the second update. Now let's talk about the third big upgrade here, which is this tower here that will greatly boost your DPS. It's called the Deepest Tower. I talked about it so many times already. Let's take a closer look at this beauty. First of all, you need to understand that straight out of the bat, this gives you chaos resistance. Chaos resistance is very hard to acquire, so getting it from this helmet is good. Also, we have some maximum life that we can roll, and this is an armor base, so it will give you some armor also, which is great. Try to get one with 2 sockets if it's possible, so you can put more runes, give you more flexibility. Here I went for maximum life. So now why we want to use this helmet is because of the last line. Enemies in your presence count as being on low life. Once you equip this thing and enemies count as being on low life, we can take certain nodes that will greatly boost our DPS. We have a cluster here and we have a cluster here. As you can see, this gives us great DPS boost, even 60% here. We will allocate all these nodes. Also, we have this thing, damage with hits is lucky against enemies that are on low life. Basically, this will roll 2 times and will pick the highest number result. This is great. Also, we have here more DPS increases, and we have these small nodes here, 30-30, and here we have 120% increased damage with hits against enemies that are on low life. What you need to understand, that it's very easy to correct, it's that actually this helmet has a downside, because it says here, reduce presence area of effect by 50%. Yeah. If you don't know what's present, you can hold down Alt and click here, and it will show you your character presence. You can raise this thing up. Very easy. On the boots, you have this thing. It's called Ox Talisman. It's very cheap. Yeah. Ideally, you want boots with 2 sockets, so you put 2 Ox Talismans. This I will do it later when I get currency again. And this will increase your presence by 40%. That's all that you need to do. You'll put Ox Talismans inside the boots. Ideally, you get boots with 2 sockets. And by the way, let's say you're level 92, not 94 like me, and you want to transition to the max version, no problem. You'll just unspec these 2 points here. Yeah, you get level 93, you take this one. You get level 94, you take this one. You see, no problemo. And one little explanation for the gem setup. So just one gem changed. Because we're using this OP as fuck helmet, we want to use execute here. That basically will give you 50% more damage with hits against enemies that are on low life. 50% more damage, it's a huge multiplier. And now we need to select a gem to swap. Yeah. For this thing here, I replace brutality because it also comes with a downside. Yeah, and now we remain with Heft. Heft was a tricky gem because it says more maximum physical damage, so realistically speaking you would only benefit like 50%, but because we have this node here that says damage with hits is lucky against enemies that's on low life, this is actually close to 30% now. That's why you will stick with this one. And one more thing that you need to understand, the DPS tooltip that you will see in game, it's not accurate. So the DPS tooltip, we go here. It may vary depending on your setup here, but this doesn't show all these nodes that we took for the deepest tower, doesn't show these nodes, doesn't show these nodes, doesn't show the execute here, doesn't show the item of Uldun with extra totem. So this thing doesn't keep track of a lot of things. So whatever you see here, keep in mind this is not the real DPS that you do. Our DPS is much more higher. It just doesn't track the things that we get from deepest tower, these nodes here, doesn't track the support gem, doesn't track our number of totems. So I explain, even if you have 30 totems, it will still show you the same DPS tooltip, which is pretty lame. Yeah, so don't look at this DPS tooltip for this particular build because it will not show the reality. Good. Now let's talk about the next upgrade that you can do, will be the flask. Here. The flask is OP of fuck. I paid 7 divine orbs for this. It might go up in the future. You get this flask from farming expedition logbooks and you pray that you get Allroad boss inside that map. You farm Allroad and eventually it will drop that flask if you want to sell farm it. Else you can buy it and it will be from 7 divines to 10 divine orbs depending on the theme of the day and the meta of the league. Good. Now why this flask is so good? Let me show you. You get a shield. Basically this is a life flask. And when you use it, you get a guard shield that absorbs damage. 1 second. Okay, my boys, let's continue. This is especially useful if you plan to farm simulacrums with this shield that you get here. What you need to understand that the shield that you get can be bumped even higher if you're using Herbalim support in your setup. For example, I have here Herbalim, so this will give you more shield. Check. Much more shield. You can also buy a belt here that it says increase life recovery from flask, and you also have this quest in Act 2 Cruel difficulty with Value of Titans. You make sure that you pick the right one that increases the recovery, life recovery. 1 second. Where it is my? Here. Increase life recovery from flask. This also will give you more shield, so make sure you select the right one here. Yeah, so this will, if you have Allroad flask, it will give you more shield. So it's important to notice. Herbalim support, you take this thing in Value of Titans, and if it's possible, you also take a belt, which says increase life recovery from flask, and it should have 2000 guard here with the belt also. That's a lot of absorption and you can use it multiple times, and it also lasts 10 seconds. This is a great defensive boost, especially if you're doing hard content like simulacrums on difficulty +4. Good. The next big upgrade that you need to do is for Thunder here. You want to get the corruption with +1. Same you want to do with Ancestral Warrior Totem. I was unlucky here. I think I tried 3 times. I always failed. So you try a Valorb and needs to get corruption +1. For Thunder it's very easy to get it. You don't need to level it up to 20. You just get a gem on random level and you put Valorbs until you get the +1 corruption. You don't need to put the Jeweler's Orb on it. And once you get the +1 corruption, you will apply this one. Uncut skill gem level 20 and you will get level 21. Very easy. For Ancestral Warrior Totem, because it needs to be with 5 sockets, it's a little more complicated. As a matter of fact, I should demonstrate in this beautiful video so that you know. 1 second, I need to swap fast here some Divine Orbs. Very fast, very elegant, very sexy. We put it here. One more. Of course, wants to ruin my video. Put it here and then I will buy a perfect Jeweler's Orb. I'll show you the process, how you need to do it. Start with the Thunder one because it's very easy to get. Come on. Come on, don't... 1 second, I will overpay because I don't want to make this video too long. 220, put it here. We overpay because else we stay all day. Good. So I have here a perfect Jeweler's Orb. How you want to do it? You go to gems, you take a random skill gem that is not level 20. Good. Then you want to select the Ancestral Warrior Totem. 1 second. I won't corrupt this one because I don't want to risk it in case it fails. Because it's not guaranteed that you will get it. So I get the Ancestral Warrior Totem here. Then you want to make it perfect Jeweler's Orb so it has a maximum number of sockets. Then you want to apply quality. It's important not to forget. You'll apply Gem Cutter Prism like this. Then you want to make buy a Omen of Corruption. Don't forget about this, it's very important, Omen of Corruption. Oh, baby, baby. Man, I have lag, 1 second. Good. And now what you want to do, you want to activate the Omen of Corruption and hit a Valorb on this. And one of the outcomes that it can happen, it can give you +1.
What, expecting praise?
Give me some quality. It's not bad, it's not good either. Yeah. So let's suppose you get +1 corruption. Then what you want to do here, you want to make it level 20. Yeah. And we remain with the +1 corruption, meaning that you will no longer have gem level 29. You actually will have gem level 30, which is very important. Now, speaking of gem levels here, I need to talk about something very interesting that happened in patch 0.2. That's why I will relog on Standard and talk about these jewels. So we have Prism of Belief Diamond. You can use either for Thunder or for Ancestral Warrior with +3. Both work. Yeah. So you can get with Thunder. Here I went with Thunder because it was cheaper. Or you can get with Ancestral Warrior Totem. Both work. This is the idea. And let me log on Standard because I need to show you something very interesting. So here are my characters from patch 0.1, and I also made this build, of course, because it's my main build in Path of Exile. Okay, my boys, I relogged on Standard and I want to show you something very interesting that happened here. So here I have a Prism of Belief with the +3 to level of all Ancestral Warrior Totems. As you know, we scale damage drastically via gem levels. Yeah. Let's take DPS tooltip as a reference. Okay, if you go here, you will see this damage. Yeah, so we take this as a reference with +3 Prism of Belief for Ancestral Warrior Totem. Now look what happened in patch 0.2 when I'm gonna put the Thunder +3. We put it here. This was not the case in patch 0.1. In order to display the DPS tooltip correctly, you will need to refresh a random support gem and then you check again. The damage, it's actually higher for +3 Thunder. I think that this happens because GGG in patch 0.2 nerfs hard the gem levels from level 30 to 40, yeah? And now when we equip a Thunder with +3, actually it's better DPS, yeah? Let me show you again. If I'm gonna put this and refresh, you will see this DPS. We take it as a reference. We don't care about the actual numbers because the numbers are much more higher in reality. Now let's put this one back. In order to refresh it, you just take a support and you put it back. Now it got refreshed, level 34. Now you're gonna check, it's actually lower. Slightly, not a lot. Yeah? So the moral of the story, the higher you go into gem levels, the less benefit you get. Now it's good for my build because my build never pushed for a lot of gem levels. You know, some guys in the past went for level 40. I never encourage that. My build usually stops around 33, 30, it's fine for maxing. And also we have these nodes that increase damage per chance to block. Yeah, and we have one here also. Also now with the deepest tower that I explained, we have these nodes here and here. I repeat, I'm on standard here. I just wanted to talk about these jewels. So both jewels are viable. +3 to Sander and +3 to Ancestral Warrior Totem. If you don't have money for +3, then you buy with +2. Either +2 Ancestral Warrior Totem or +2 level to Sander. Do not buy +1. The reason for this is because we have some powerful rare jewels that we can use. So +1, in my opinion, it's not worth it. You can get a great rare jewel, even with corruption, that will beat the +1. So either you go with +2, Sander or Ancestral Warrior Totem, or you go with +3. This is the moral of the story. Now I relogged back on my main character in patch 0.2, and I want to show you how to do simulacrums properly with this build. Yeah, because in simulacrums you will get stunned a lot. Actually, GGG released yesterday an information that they plan to nerf simulacrums to make them much more easier. But until then, you need to know about this trick. Yeah, in simulacrums you get stunned a lot, which can suck and you will die most of the times on difficulty +4. With this build you can do difficulty 1, 2 and 3 quite easy. But if you want to farm on difficulty +4, you need to know this thing. Basically you want to allocate this thing, Unwavering Stance Keystone, so that you don't get stunned. Yeah, this is what you need to do. Temporarily, just when you farm simulacrum, you will take this thing. Take it here, take it here, here. After you finish the farming simulacrums for the day, you will allocate back these nodes and call it a day. But when you farm, you want to get this one. We don't know how GGG will nerf simulacrums, how easy they will be, but until they do the change, you will allocate this thing here and you won't be stunned. Now you cannot dodge roll anymore, but no problem. You bind spacebar to lip slam in the command, and now when you place spacebar, you will just lip slam. Already in Path of Exile 1, all my movement speed for years, I had them on spacebar, and I was justifying that in most games you use spacebar to jump. That was my justification, and they also implemented this in Path of Exile 2. Good. And my boys, the last update that I want to mention is the Megalomaniac Jewel. Especially after GGG does the Simulacrum nerf, more and more people will farm Simulacrums, meaning that more jewels will appear on the trade website here. This is for standard, let's go down on the hunt. Yeah, and this can be really powerful. Basically, you can get some nodes that are hard to reach, will give you good benefits for your build. Now you need to read them and see if it's something that will benefit your build. My opinion is take one only if it gets great effects. Yeah, only if it has great effects, or maybe it has something that will save you a lot of skill points. For example, you take one that has offensive stance and you can drop everything here and you will invest elsewhere some block chance. You know, maybe you take this here for more block chance and you compensate. Or maybe even pairing motion here, flashy deflection, if you take it, maybe pairing motion, you can use different anoint. So you need to take a Megalomaniac with great nodes. If it doesn't have great nodes, do not take it. Pretty much like this. Man, this was the maxing video. If you have any questions or you want to insult my ass, remember that you have the Guild Discord server here, where I keep everything up to date regarding this build. You know, I'm a guy that plays the same build over and over again. That's how I like to do things in this game. I want to perfect the one build and I keep doing it over and over again. That's why we offer support for this build. That's why we have an info channel. That's why we're having a good time in this game. And lastly, a quick reminder that I will also update here. This thing will go away and everything that I discuss in this video will be updated in the written guide, because many people don't want to watch video guides. They jump directly into a written guide. No problem. POEGuy had you covered. Enjoy the rest of the day and good luck.